Greetings, everyone. Dr. Brian Scott with you. We're wrapping up this week. Today is Saturday, November the 18th. It's hard to believe that we're more than halfway through the month of November and heading towards the end of the year. Insight to the End Times. We began these podcasts in March of 2020. We are finishing up here about our 19th month of sharing these 6 days a week, talking about the end times. Where are we in God's timetable? When is Jesus going to come back and take the church home to heaven? When will the tribulation period begin? Who's the Antichrist? When will he be revealed? What's going to happen during the tribulation period? Will it be as bad as they say? And what about the Battle of Armageddon? When's that going to happen? And will he really be returning to set up his kingdom? Well, if you've been listening to our insights, you have heard us address every one of those questions over and over again. And yesterday we were looking at the Antichrist, just to review who is this character. And today we're going to share a little bit more. And the reason we are sharing about the Antichrist is because we have just spent about 10 sessions, 10 podcasts looking at globalism and the creation of one world government and the fact that these one world governments, what government is going to really change the direction of everything on the earth that we are aware of and that we live with. So let's talk a little bit more about the Antichrist. He's the fellow who wants to set up that one world system. He wants to be the dictator. He wants to rule everything because he wants to be God. Let's get into Daniel chapter 7 and verse 25. We looked at this verse yesterday. Here it is again, verse 25. Here's what it says. He shall speak pompous words against the Most High. That's God. He shall persecute the saints of the Most High, and he shall intend to change the times and the law. Verse 25 indicates to us that the Antichrist is vicious. He is a persecutor. He's a killer. He is going to change the law. He likely has a legal background. He likely has been trained as a lawyer. He has no respect for the law, as we found out the other day in the Second Thessalonians earlier verses in chapter 2. He's known as the lawless one. So he's going to bring destruction to the world, really big time destruction. Now, in Daniel chapter 8, verse 23, it refers to the fact that he will be operating sinister schemes. So he's going to be a warrior. He's going to be a strategist. He probably will be a spiritualist. He might be a medium as well because he's dealing with sinister schemes. In Daniel 11:34, it says he's going to flatter many people. He's going to be a flatterer. That doesn't bode well. And he'll use deception and cunning means and flattery to control the people. That comes out of Daniel 11:34. He has no respect whatsoever for God, none whatsoever. He's turned his back on God, and he is going to rise up as if he is God. Now, this Antichrist, you don't do these things unless you've previously been on that side of the fence, seen how it works. You change sides, you get on the other side, and now you're going to expose all of the things that you've previously learned. Let me read a couple more verses out of Daniel chapter 11. Daniel's a tremendous book to talk about the end times. It's very prophetic. Here's chapter 11, verse 36. The king shall do according to his will. He shall exalt himself. He shall magnify himself above every god. He shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods. 37. Neither shall he regard the God of his fathers, nor the desire of women, nor regard any God, for he shall magnify himself above all. Have you ever been in the presence of a boaster, a braggart, and all they do is talk about themselves, and they brag constantly, brag. We had a fellow like that in our university residence in my first year of university many years ago. He came from a western province, and it didn't matter what we were talking about. He constantly bragged about it was better out west. It was better in his city. It was better, his experiences. Everything was better at his end. We got to the point where we just laughed at him all the time. But he was a boaster. He was a braggart all the time. That wears on you a great deal. We have here a statement that the Antichrist is going to move into Jerusalem. That's 2 Thessalonians 2, verse 4. He's going to sit on the holy throne in the temple of God, and he's going to declare himself to be God. Now, here's what's interesting. Listen to this verse out of Revelation 11:8. It says, the Antichrist moves into Jerusalem. He sits as God in the holy city at the mid-tribulation point, which ends up being called Sodom. That's a reference to great sin. So the Antichrist, let's talk about some of these characteristics as we summarize them. I gave you about 8 characteristics yesterday, and I'm going to pick up. He will be a warrior, a military leader, a strategist, a killer, a deluxe killer. He has no restraints whatsoever, no respect for the law, no respect for God, no respect for any God whatsoever or any level of God, no sense of right or wrong. He's a spiritual seer, a visionary, a spiritualist medium. He will be a great orator, one of the greatest orators the world has ever seen. He'll be so convincing and so smooth, people will fall for his statements. It's unbelievable. He's going to be a persecutor, probably a prosecutor as well, but he's going to be a persecutor. He has every intention to change every law you've ever known, and they won't be for good. They're going to be for bad. So you can just imagine he's going to empty prisons is what likely will come to pass. He'll eliminate parole meetings and so on and so forth. He's going to operate great power. He's going to have great ability to do so. He's empowered by Satan himself. His flattery will gain a great deal of control. You probably see this with a lot of our political leaders today. The more charismatic, the more followers, because they're great orators, they're very charismatic, and so on and so forth. You get a serious leader who is not going to nickel and dime all the nonsense and just get down to steering the country in a long-term right direction. They usually aren't picking up a lot of followers. Can we say that he's going to have a religious background because he's going to know all the ways of the temple and how to manipulate people and intimidate people and dominate people? This fact that he has no respect for God, is this not what we're seeing in North America today? We're seeing so many churches losing their respect for God in the manner of service, in the manner of dress, in the manner of their language. They have brought the world into the church, and it's supposed to be the other way around. We are to bring the church into the world to change the world, but the world's coming into the church to change the church. So we've got things backwards, forwards. Or as I like to say, we have put the emphasis on the wrong syllable. When he gets into Jerusalem, because he is such an evil individual, it will be taking on a reference to Sodom as opposed to the holy city. And then finally, because he has no desire for women, as we referred to in one of these earlier verses today, that's in Daniel 11:37, we probably can summarize the fact that he is a homosexual. So there's so many characteristics about this individual that are anti-God, anti-Christ, hence Antichrist. But he's anti-church, he's anti-believer, he's anti-word, and we're going to pay a dear price if we happen to be around when he shows up. I hope you won't be. I trust you'll be out of here in the pre-tribulation rapture. See you next week. Amen.